to my channel. So today we're doing a book haul. I have 20 books that I have purchased recently. Some of them are brand new books that have just recently come out, and other ones are some used book finds that I have been gathering. So I only have a small stack of used books in this haul, so I'll start with these. The first one that I have is A Treacherous Curse by Diana Raybourn. This is the third book in the Veronica Speedwell series, and I've already read this book. I just didn't own a copy yet. I'm trying to collect all the books in this series because I do sometime soon want to reread the first 4 books and then continue on with the series. But this is a series that I love so much. It is a Victorian murder mystery following these 2 scientists who sort of start out as rivals. They really clash and they're forced to work together to solve the murder of a mutual friend of theirs. And then throughout the series, they grow closer, and it's just a fantastic series if you like murder mysteries and a lot of banter, a lot of like slow burn romance, like very, very slow. It's a fantastic series. I cannot wait to reread it. So was very excited to find a copy of that. Then another sequel that I found is Across the Green Grass Fields by Seanan Mcguire. This is the, I think, 6th book in the Wayward Children series, which is one of my all-time favorite series. I have also already read this. I loved it. This kind of works as a standalone in this series. You can read this without having read any of the other books, but basically the general idea of the series is that there are magical doorways that kids go through and find themselves in fantastical, magical worlds, and they have adventures there, and then they come back to the real world, and some of them have a really hard time adjusting back into society. So this book takes place in one of those magical worlds that is like a horse world. So there's centaurs and selkies, and I had a lot of fun with this one. The next book that I got is The Dragon of Ginseng by K.S. Veloso, which is the 3rd and final book in this series. I've read the first book and I loved it, and I really, really want to finish this trilogy. It's such a great fantasy with a lot of twists and turns. Like, the first book had so much action and it was so like stressful. I am just really excited to dive back into this world. I do still need to get the 2nd book. I don't have that one yet. Once I get it, I will be finishing this series. Also, can we just talk about how stunning the artwork on this cover is? I just love everything about this. The next book, I was super excited when I found this because I kid you not, I don't go a single day without somebody recommending this book or this series to me, and that is Guild by Raven Kennedy. This is the Plated Prisoner series. All I know about this is that it's an adult fantasy romance. It's like a retelling of King Midas. Literally, I get recommended this book so much that I finally just caved and I was like, I have to read it. So this is gonna happen eventually. All of y'all who keep telling me that I need to read it, you can stop now because it's gonna happen. And then the last used book that I picked up is Temper by Lane Fargo. Lane Fargo is the author of They Never Learn, which is probably my favorite book of the year. Unsure. But I read that recently and I became obsessed with it, and this is her other book. I think this was her debut, and it's another thriller. I really don't know what it's about. I kind of don't want to know what it's about since I already know that I like Lane Fargo. I just want to go into this one blind. But I'm hoping that I love it at least a little bit as much as I did They Never Learn. Then I got one book from a publisher. I was so excited when I saw this because I wasn't expecting to get it. I was hoping, I was putting out the energy, hoping that it would come back to me. But Tor sent me Where the Drowned Girls Go, which is the 7th book in the Wayward Children series. This comes out in January 2022, and I'm so excited for this. So all I know about this one is it's following Cora. We are also going to a different school. It says, there is another school for children who fall through doors and fall back out again. It isn't as friendly as Eleanor West's home for wayward children, and it isn't as safe. I'm so excited for this. Before I show you guys the rest of the books, I want to take a quick moment to talk about the sponsor for today's video, which is Native. I am so thankful to be working with Native again. They are a company that I just adore so much. They produce my absolute favorite aluminum-free deodorants, and before I discovered Native, I was never really loyal to a deodorant brand, but since finding them, I literally use nothing else. They're really great. They're not sticky and they dry really fast, so you can can use them and head out the door. They're made with simple ingredients that you know, such as coconut oil and shea butter, and they are aluminum-free, paraben-free, vegan, and cruelty-free. They have come out with 3 new limited edition scents in their coffee house line. I think that this might be my favorite line that they've ever come out with. So the first one is Oat Milk Latte, which smells so good. This is the one that I've been using the most. Then cherry and vanilla macaron, which has such a beautiful cherry scent to it. And then lastly, matcha and sweet cream, which I am also in love with. They also offer plastic-free versions using the same exact formula but with more sustainable packaging. I also love their body washes and their toothpaste. This one is cucumber and mint and it smells so refreshing. 3 deodorants are normally $36, but with my code RileyM4 you can get them for $24, which is a 33% discount. And with that same code, it gets you 20% off the body wash and toothpaste. Once again, big thank you to Native for sponsoring this video. All right, now moving on to all of the new books that I have purchased. A lot of these are like brand new releases. So the first book that I got is Redemptor by Jordan Ifueko. This is the sequel to Raybearer, which is a book that I read recently. I vlogged my whole experience with it and I fell in love with it. I gave it 5 stars. It was amazing, and this is the conclusion to that. So I am very excited to read this. I think that in December, I want to just spend the month of December reading sequels and completing a lot of book series. So that's why I've purchased a lot of sequels in this haul, but this is definitely top of that list. Continuing with that, another sequel that I really want to get to is The Second Rebel by Linden A. Lewis. This is the sequel to The First Sister, which was one of my favorite books of last year, and I've been highly anticipating the second book. This is a sci-fi series following a bunch of different characters, and the first book ended on like the biggest plot twist. I was so shocked how it ended. So I just am like, I don't even know where this book is gonna go. I haven't looked up anything about it. I really just want to go into it and experience it, but I cannot wait to start this. I love these characters and the way that all the relationships were developing. So this is definitely one that I want to get to soon. The next book that I got is White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a new YA horror that's supposed to have like Haunting of Hill House and Get Out vibes. It is following this girl whose family moves into this new house and very weird things keep happening at night, and it's possible that the house is haunted. I really love haunted house horror, so I'm very excited for this. I've never read anything from Tiffany D. Jackson, but I'm really excited to start this. The next book that I got was my most anticipated book of this whole year, and that is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Clune. Again, this is a book that I don't know much about. I feel like once I know I really love an author, I just kind of like to go into their books blind and not read too much about them. All I know about this though is that it is about a ghost who refuses to cross over into the spirit realm, and the ferryman who carries the ghost spirits and they fall in love. I can't wait to read this. I'm hoping it is just as magical and whimsical as The House in the Cerulean Sea. The next book that I got is To Break a Covenant by Allison Ames. This is a YA horror following this group of girls in this small town, and there is a mine in the town that people have said is haunted, and one of the girls' father works in there and he has been slowly like losing his mind. So her and her friends decide to enter the mine and explore it and find out what's going on in there. I cannot wait to read this. I feel like it's really gonna scare me because you guys know that I am terrified of like mines or caves or just like dark enclosed spaces. So this seems like it's gonna be really scary. The next book is probably my second most anticipated book of this year. A lot of my most anticipated stuff was coming out this month, and that is The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling, who is the author of The Luminous Dead, which is a sci-fi horror that I love. Speaking of horror about caves, that was a cave horror, but this is her newest release. It is a gothic horror, and I know that Caitlin Starling has said that this was heavily inspired by her watching the movie Crimson Peak, which is a movie that I loved, but I felt like had so much more potential. So I'm excited to see what she does kind of with that premise and that idea. And this cover is probably my all-time favorite cover. This is stunning. I would put a poster of this up on my wall. Okay, the next book is one that I sort of bought on a whim. I was shopping on Amazon and I just saw this cover and I was like, well, that looks interesting. It's called Tide Pool by Nicole Wilson. And I've not heard anybody talk about this. I literally just sort of impulse bought it because of the cover. It is a horror book set in 1913 in this small oceanside town where this woman's brother had gone missing there. So she goes to the town to find out what happened to her brother. And it says she discovers a dark, deadly secret, and the town's denizens, human and otherwise, are hell-bent on making sure she never leaves. Does that not just sound amazing? So yeah, I'm gonna give this a try. The next one that I got is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Larocca. This is another short little horror book that takes place in the early 2000s in an online chat room. That's all I know about it. I've heard that it is really disturbing. The very last line of the synopsis gives me chills. It says, "What have you done today to deserve your eyes?" Like, what does that mean? What does it mean? I don't know. I'm gonna find out. The next book that I got is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. I am making my way through Grady Hendrix books. This one sounds great. It takes place in a furniture store that is supposed to be like IKEA. It just seems really fun. There's a lot of like immersive stuff in the book, so I'm excited to read that one. The next book that I got is The Girls Are Never Gone by Sarah Glenn Marsh. This follows a girl who is the host of a paranormal podcast, and she's investigating the death of a teen who drowned in a lake 30 years ago and is now been said to be haunting the estate. And I'm really excited to read this. I have read The Reign of the Fallen duology by Sarah Glenn Marsh, and I loved it. It is super underrated, so I'm very excited to read this. I also believe that this is the last book that I have unread from my 5-star prediction video. So we're gonna see if this is in fact going to be 5 stars. So here were all of the books that I've purchased recently. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!